So I think it's appropriate now to talk more about the Joker and his girlfriend Harley Quinn, who succumbed to the Joker's advances due to the Nightingale effect, which was mentioned in the film Back to the Future. So, we established already that Trump is the Joker. He is the trump card. We saw him depicted as the catalyst for chaos in the 2019 film The Joker, which was, of course, played by Joaquin Phoenix. And we're going to notice, as we go through today's show, lots and lots of the letter Q. There's a Q in Joaquin Phoenix's name. And in that film, The Joker, we see the exact scenario that we're going through right now playing out. Now, that film released with 88 days left in the year in 2019. The Joker. We showed you also the Joker played by Jack Nicholson in another Batman movie. And he was spraying the people of New York, or Gotham, with gas from a smiley-faced balloon under an eclipse moon. And everybody was frantically struggling around to find their masks. And we also showed you how these smiley faces are eclipses and that they kick off worldwide sacrificial events. We saw yet another Joker played by Heath Ledger. Here it is right here. And of course, he's a nurse and basically detonates a hospital, right? And we know that in 2019, the WHO designated 2020 as the year of the Florence Nightingale nurse on the Economist cover. And we also exposed, we're going to start calling it May Goggles. That's the new name of the company that runs YouTube. We're going to call it May Goggles, okay? Because even they are now sensitive to their own name in the algorithms. So we exposed how May Goggles 2019 Project Nightingale, which also foreshadowed the CV spamdemic. They were teaming up with one of the largest hospital systems in America to upload your personal medical data to the cloud without your knowledge. And then they use that medical data to feed artificial intelligence algorithms to recommend diagnoses and treatments to your doctor through their interface. And we showed you how all this is happening right now under the Trump presidency. This is Ascension, Project Nightingale. They worked with Google. And even here, they recognize the year of the nurse, 200 years after Florence Nightingale birthday. They even acknowledge it. Many of you who work in the medical healthcare industry had lots of memos and chatter going around about the year of the nurse, but none of it came before the CV. It all came after. But if you look back, they were already talking about this in mid-2019. The year of the nurse and Florence Nightingale. And now we see 2020 actually becoming the year of the nurse. We also showed you all the links between Back to the Future, Biff, and Trump, and the Florence Nightingale effect being mentioned in that Back to the Future scene with Biff. And what is the Florence Nightingale effect? It's when nurses fall in love with their patients. Well, this morning, after that quick recap of what we've been learning, the rabbit hole just went into the fifth dimension. It seems that most nurses have to take what's called a Hippocratic oath. The Florence Nightingale Pledge. This is it right here. The Florence Nightingale Pledge. Many of you who are nurses might remember taking this pledge. Something is happening, and it's not what we're being told. in the mainstream media. Now, before we continue, everything that I just talked to you about is what I believe is called time slippage. And as we reach the end time singularity, the future, the past, and the present begin to run together. Now, this isn't the real timeline running together. This is the artificial intelligence timeline. As the AI scrambles to pre-program the masses, to steer thought, to steer consciousness of humanity, it begins to glitch. And it reveals too much too soon. And that's what we catch on this channel. It's all hindsight. We don't realize that we pretty much already knew there was going to be a spamdemic 3 years ago in 2017. When we talked about the eclipses and the red balloons, we didn't know that was going to happen. But we just started talking about it because we follow the Holy Spirit. And God tries to prepare his people. And had people that were following his channel begin to prepare for what was to come, maybe things would be a little bit different. We're seeing the forest from the trees. We're putting the puzzle pieces together that reveal the entire plan in action. And this is artificial intelligence time slippage, when everything begins to run together and they get sloppy. Now, this goes even deeper, because now I find out that the Joker's girlfriend fell in love with him because she was his psych doctor in a psych ward. And right here, they even call it the Florence Nightingale effect. Her name was Harley Quinn. They call her Harlequin. Let's look at some of this here. The Florence Nightingale effect. And we're going to get into the clip that I uploaded yesterday, but I wanted to set up this show appropriately. So, what is this from? Dr. Quinzel. Look at this. There's your Q again. Remember, I told you the Q was going to keep making an appearance. And that's why we have Q, right? And here's the Joker. And they're talking about, this is the TV tropes, quotes the Florence Nightingale effect as Harlequin, the doctor, falls for the Joker. Here's another one. This TV trope actually mentions, let's make this bigger, Doc Brown's quote from Back to the Future talking about the Florence Nightingale effect. Maybe it's that they're so cute when they're helpless. Maybe it's that we really want to feel loved and protected when we're vulnerable. First aid is intimate. You have to lean in to pat a cut eyebrow. So there's this whole thing going on between nurses and patients. Okay? The Florence Nightingale effect. Now, this is widely known, but if you've never heard of it before, this is new information. Here's Harley Quinn. This was the first appearance, one of the first appearances in this comic book. And she is known for falling for the Joker as his doctor, the Florence Nightingale effect. Mad Love. Now here's the actual sequence. Let's pull this up first. Here it is. This is the first appearance she makes. It's called Mad Love. Here's the comic. We're going to look at this comic. And December 14th, 1993. Here's the comic here. I still like to think he was aiming for my fanny and missed. At least that's what I told myself when I woke up in the hospital 3 days later. 3 days. But hey, that's the downside of comedy. You're always taking shots from folks who just don't get the joke. So he's trying to get sympathy from the doctor. Here's Harley Quinn right there. These are the very beginnings of how she became what we know today as the Saucy Side Squad movie, we have to call it, because you can't say that word on YouTube anymore. Or Batman. So she begins sympathizing with him. Thanks, Doc. I feel a lot better. Same time next week? Sure. Subject admits to abusive childhood. Blah, blah, blah. On to the next page. Now, by the time we're done with this, you're going to see how this becomes a metaphor for everything we're going through right now. Next page. In the weeks ahead, it soon became clear to me that the Joker, so often described as a raving, homicidal madman, was nothing more than a tortured soul crying out for the love and acceptance, a lost child looking to make the world laugh at his antics. And there as always was the self-righteous Batman, determined to make life miserable for my angel. Yes, I admit, as unprofessional as it sounds, I had fallen in love with my patient. So there are the beginnings of Harlequin, for those of you that didn't know. This is what the entire film was based off of, this original comic. Now, here's the film. Saucy Side Squad. And, let's see, let's pull it up here. Here's the first one. Now, if you think about how this fits into the modern scenario, basically, Trump wanted us all to fall in love with the nurse heroes, right? This is why you see all these signs everywhere. The hospital staff, namely the nurses, have become the heroes of our American reality. At least that's what they want us to believe. And he actually described this whole thing we went through as some kind of conflict, like what would be like an overseas conflict, right? I can't say the words, but you know what I'm saying. And it was a battle, and we had to win this. This became Trump's battle, right? As he was pulling people out of the overseas, it now raged here on our own soil. So, this Saucy Side Squad released 100 days before, actually, let's pull this one up. Sorry guys. Where'd it go? This is the sequel. But the original released 100 days before Trump won the presidency. And the sequel here that you see will be released after the presidency if he does not win re-election. So, basically, the two films couch the presidency, one before and one after, directly after. There's something going on here, because this film basically is a biography of Trump's life, his presidency, and what we're all going through right now. It's a big joke. It's a big joke that no one understands, that this all is being orchestrated. Now, if you look at what the Harley Quinn is, the original Harley Quinn was a demon, a clown demon. Here's the Wikipedia article on the Harlequin and the history of it. It goes back hundreds of years, and it's a clown demon, and they wore these diamond-shaped pattern clown suits. Here it is right here, some pictures of the Harlequin. This is what they look like. This is what it's all based on. And of course, you see the mask. See how all this is fitting in now? The masked Harlequin. And we're all being masked right now. Now, let's take a look at the opening scene of the Saucy Side Squad, because I found something pretty crazy, and I uploaded this yesterday. And what you're going to see here in this promo image here is the tiger on her chest, and that would be like the tiger on the back in the girl in iPad Go 2. Let's play this through. Now, some of you were disturbed at some of these images, and so we'll fast forward through them. But the point here is to understand that Jared Leto plays the Joker, and he was born on Apollo's birthday, the solar eclipse that happened that kicked off the CV in China. How many synchronicities do we need to see before we understand exactly what's going on here? How many times have you heard me say on this channel, the Apollo's birthday, December 25th, and the solar eclipse of December 26th in China that happened on our December 25th because we're on the other side of the world, and how this kicked everything off. How many times have we mentioned this? And here it pops up again in Jared Leto's birthday, who played the Joker. Remember, this was 2016, you guys. And there's the December 26th smiley face eclipse. And of course, the smiley face is the logo of the Saucy Side Squad. It's the logo. XIX. Which in Roman numerals is 19. And the eclipse was in 2019. Can you see the I in the nose? XIX. That's 19. They knew. Now, we're not going to decode the entire film. That's not why we're here today. We're not going to decode the entire film of the Saucy Side Squad because we don't really need to. Because the film picks up long after she falls in love with the Joker due to the Florence Nightingale effect. But watch this. You're going to hear The House of the Rising Sun play by the Animal, or what is it? What do you call it? What is the name of this group? Now, this song was by... I thought I had all this pulled up already. Let's go over here. House of the Rising Sun. This is crazy. Here it is here. The House of the Rising Sun. The Animals. Okay. And... again, sun worship, Apollo. So this would be an appropriate song. Now what we're looking at here is the opening scenes of the Saucy Side Squad from 2016, 100 days before Trump won the election. And here is the song that's playing. Let's go to the Wikipedia here. And this song, you're going to see, was covered by lots and lots of bands, not just the Animals. One band in particular, watch this. Look at this, it's all in pink, right? This is the Animals, House of the Rising Sun, all in pink. And there was another band that covered it called Freed Pink. Accident? Remember all the Pink Floyd stuff we've been covering? Freed Pink. Alright? They covered it in March of 1970. Now follow me on this, because this is crazy. Because you're going to hear something here. Listen very carefully. So the story goes, Will Smith is in this like lockdown, right? You can call it quarantine if you want. And along with it's like a high security prison of some type. They call it a black site, right? You can see what's on your screen there, right? Think about this. Think about all of how this fits into what we're going through right now. 2016, you guys. This is called a black site, right? And they're playing House of the Rising Sun. There's your serpent wrapped around the bars, which was the logo for GF, right? Think of GF now. You know what I'm talking about? help people out in the chat if they don't know what I'm saying. But there was a logo of a snake wrapped around a cross, and there you see it there. This is a double cross though, right? Look, you can almost see it there. There's the cross and 2 bars, double cross.
Shout time. It's time. Lloyd, step up the door.
Now, his character's name is Floyd. Wow. It's dinner time. That means, okay, we're going to put out the bait. It's dinner time at the black site. Okay? Follow me on this. This is on a spiritual level. The subliminal spiritual sorcery that's happening right here. Many of you saw this film, but you had no idea that it was going to tie directly into what we're going through right now. Dinner time. They put out the bait for the people of a certain color, right? Watch. And there he is with the baton around the neck. Now, if I could make all this up, then that would be crazy, right? But you can't. You can't make this up. There's some phenomenon occurring. And it's not life imitating art. That's not what's happening here. It's intentionally done by the enemy. And it's seeded into everything that you watch. Commercials, TVs. You can't escape it. It's just gonna be there. When you go on to Amazon to order things online, it's gonna be there. When you watch a commercial, it's gonna be there. When anything that you see through your device is loaded with this. And this is why enough people can't wake up. Because they've been brainwashed by the algorithms. This is exactly what happened, you guys.
Dinner time.
Dinner time. Take the bait.
My friends call me Floyd. 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 You ain't got no friends, Floyd. That is called loaf.
Now, they gave him loaf. Now we're going to look into that on another show, but there are ties to what they used to feed the SLAVES. Okay? You seeing this now? Is it becoming clear? I hope it is.
Lord. Loaf. It's got a little bit of biscotti in there.
Toenails. Reference to being kicked in the face or having maybe possibly a knee on your neck.
One day, somehow.
I'm
going to get out of here.
I'm going to get out of here.
And I'm going to rain down.
And I'm going to rain down on you like the Holy Ghost. So there's the call to action. There's the call to action to the people of color to do exactly what they're doing right now. It was all subliminally seeded into this film. But the name and the aspect of race between Will Smith and the security guard, the choking of the neck.
Holy Ghost. Lord. Man, you just threatened a staff member. Yeah? Yeah, you have. Do something. Let's have some fun. Lord.
Now, look at it. It says D108, D107, D109. There's your 19. And then in the next scene it says C. So basically, there's your C18. So subliminally your mind's going to fill in the blanks and it's going to be C19, which is what we're dealing with right now. There's your quarantine. Prison, it's the same thing. Lockdown, that's exactly what we're experiencing right now. It was all foreshadowed and foretold. And that's actually Harley Quinn in the cage here, the Joker's girlfriend. So she's the nurse, right? In lockdown in the hospitals. This is the criminally insane. So that's another metaphor. The nurses locked into the hospitals. That's Harlequin. And if you think about the name of the film, Saucy Side Squad, that's what Trump said is going to happen. He spoke it. He said, you have no idea what's going to happen. There is going to be mass saucy sides, and there's going to be a lot of it, is what he said. Because he knows he's part of it. So, as promised, we decoded this montage. It is tomorrow. It's today. And that's the decode for today. We'll be back on tomorrow with... What are we doing tomorrow? The hijab connection. They actually call it something different. Let's go over here. Show you guys this. So, many of you remember this scene from iPad Go 2, which is that animated film. Oh, this is appropriate time to talk about this too, because this film actually released on today's anniversary. 88 days after the 88th day of the year, but back in 2012. So that was 8 years ago. Can you believe that? It's about the time I started my YouTube channel here. And this is when it released. Some people, there's up for debate. Some people say it released on the 24th of June, but the information that I had says that this released on the 25th of June. So we are on today's anniversary of iPad Go 2 from 2012, 88 days after the 88th day of the year. That was one of the first clues that I actually saw that made me want to decode iPad Go. So we're going to be on here tomorrow and talk about Cry Later. See the sad face on this woman? The eclipse halo, the partial eclipse in the background here, which many people thought was some kind of explosion, but it actually probably is an eclipse. And so we're going to be back on here tomorrow to break all that down, and how there is an Islamic component to the forcing of the wearing of the masks. And there's also we're going to call it Sharon Leah law in America, is what I believe they're trying to force on us. These are the first parts of it. Okay? And we're going to break down the scene, which seems to signal the 2020 summer solstice Cry Later eclipse that would enslave the world in masks. And then on Monday, we're going to look at the British series Utopia. And to date, I believe that this series is one of the most accurate predictive programming that I've ever seen in a series. And it's happening right now. The series came out in 2013, 2014, and yet it foreshadows almost exactly to the T everything we're going through right now.